Welcome to Simentos 2021. My name is Guillermo Severiche. I'm going to be the host today. Before we start, let me tell you a bit more about Simentos. Simentos is a play development program that has given hundreds of playwrights the foundation to explore their vanguardia through developmental workshops, panels, and stage readings. For our 21st season, and due to current worldwide health concerns, we're hosting these readings over the Zoom platform with live streaming on Facebook. As I said, my name is Guillermo Severiche. I'm the literary manager at Yati Theater, and I'm the host of today's reading. And I'll be co-hosting this reading with Yanni Perez. Hola, Yanni, how are you?
Hola, hi everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Are you ready for today's reading and for all the festival that's starting today and be live all this week?
Can't wait. Super excited.
Well, thank you for being with us. Jenny will be working today and helping with Facebook. Thank you, Jenny. So today's play is All My Mother's Dream in Spanish, written by Alexandra Espinoza. So let me welcome the playwright. Hi, Alexandra, how are you?
Hi, Guillermo. I'm doing really well.
How do you feel about today's reading?
I'm feeling really excited because this was an incredibly strong team that was putting this together. I can't wait to see it all in one sitting. It's very exciting.
Well, it's very exciting for me, for everyone in Yati. So thank you for your text. So today's reading is directed by Gama Valle, and today's actors are Guadalis del Carmen, Maribel Martinez, Milvia Berenice Pacheco Salvatierra, and Daricel Calcano. They all will be joining us for our Q&A at the end of the reading. Before we begin, let me remind everyone that you can post a comment with your questions on Facebook at any time during the reading. And if you are on Zoom, you can use the Q&A option. Your questions and comments are more than welcome. Finally, Yati Theater is a non-profit organization and every actor is being compensated for their work tonight. If you want to support our theater, please visit www.yatitheater.org/donate. We can't stress enough how much your contributions of any amount help us maintain these programs, but also will be tremendous support during these times of uncertainty. So with no further ado, welcome to Simentos 2021.
All My Mother's Dream in Spanish by Alexandra Espinoza. A note on history, truth, and facts. In 1552, Miguel de Buría, a Black man born in Puerto Rico, established a new nation within the country of Venezuela, staging the first successful African rebellion in the country. He established a royal lineage with his wife, Guiomar. The nation lasted for 2 years before being overcome by the colonizing Spanish. Miguel and his wife, Guiomar, have persisted as folk heroes in the Afro-Venezuelan community. Un sueño. The sound of her heartbeat, the sensation of falling from a great height, a forest floor, small creatures crawling on her limbs. They get bigger and wetter, a warning shout, the sound of an arrow whizzing right past her ear, a whimper coming from someone next to her. A single voice lets out a battle cry that is joined by another, then another, then another, then another. Sudden silence, boots on the ground, the rushing sound of wind as she runs, the harshness of tree bark on her feet and hands as she climbs, the sound of bursting through trees, the warmth of the sun, gentle, comforting, and then suddenly too hot. The smell of blood from above the sun scorches her skin. The smell of blood from below and the sound of steel swords entering bodies. The sound of shackles and the weight of them on her wrists. The chains are long. She falls past the tree's branches, past their trunks, and as she hits the ground, a deep roll of thunder envelops the space. In the tsunami of thunder, she disappears from the earth's surface and burrows it into its core. 1,000 osprey feathers fall from the sky. They shatter like glass. La primera parte. Midnight on Maria Consuelo's outdoor patio. Maria Consuelo sits alone in the moonlight under the mango tree. We hear the unlocking of a top lock, a middle, a bottom. Camila arrives and stands in the darkness.
¿Aló? ¿Puedo entrar?
¿Cómo que puedo entrar? No tienes que preguntar.
Camila comes into the light. She is wearing a dark green military uniform. She is sweating, fighting back sickness, holding herself taut and tight. Maria Consuelo clears her throat and comes dangerously close to coughing. Camila relaxes a bit, remember where she is, gives Maria Consuelo a kiss on the cheek.
No me saludas con tu manera usual.
I'm tired.
Evidentemente. Pareces como que no dormiste.
It's a long trip.
Siéntate.
Camila sits in the chair next to her grandmother.
Gracias.
Hay empanadas en la cocina.
Who cooked them?
En mi cocina soy la única jefa.
Should you really be cooking? With your breathing the way it is?
Si yo no lo hago, ¿quién lo va a hacer? Estoy solita, ¿recuerdas? And you should never say no to your grandmother's empanadas. But I know you are not here to see your grandmother.
Pero sí.
¿Puedes decirme la verdad? No me duele. I know you are here to see a la Iña. Even if you do not agree a la Iña as an initiated show.
Camila slowly gets up again, struggling against her sickness. Maria Consuelo watches her. Camila drops to her knees and takes a deep breath.
Alaíña, nombrada en honor del manto del fuego en el centro de la tierra. Mi maestra en el camino de mis ancestras, de las orillas, de los secretos de la naturaleza. Estoy aquí, tú iniciada, para escuchar, para aprender y para unirme en la lucha por la curación. Por ahora y por siempre.
She slowly gets up and kisses Maria Consuelo on the cheek.
Así es. ¿Cómo se dice? That is more like it. Y entonces, las empanadas
What kind are they?
son de cazón.
Have you stopped following the consumption guidelines? There's been a shortage of canson for several weeks.
No me importan las pautas. Demasiadas reglas. I use the tuna in the can.
No, it's not canson, it's tuna.
Cuando cocino, tuna transform into cazón.
Ah, sí. Eres la única jefa en la cocina. I'll try one.
Exits into the house and comes back with the empanadas and a glass of water. She places them on the small table next to Maria Consuelo. The trip to the kitchen has tired her further.
¿Y entonces? ¿No vas a comer?
I don't feel, no me siento bien. You know that. You know that the roads are bumpy.
Oh, ¿por qué no dijiste algo? Ya sabes que tengo...
A cure for everything.
Así es.
I'm fine. Voy a comer.
She takes an empanada from the plate and moves to take a bite.
¿Y ahora te olvidas de la ofrenda?
Of course, lo siento.
Camila places an empanada at the foot of the mango tree with deliberate attentiveness, whispering something under her breath.
¿Pero qué te pasa? The initiate I know is never this distracted.
You know what it is, abuela.
No viniste aquí por una abuela. After all the hard work we have done together. Why do you use this name?
Alaíña. You know why I'm distracted? Alaíña.
Como que, you know? When you left, you said you would return once a week to continue your lesson. Ya pasa semanas y semanas y semanas y no te he visto. Entonces, how can I know when I have not seen you? When our lessons have been interrupted?
Lo siento, I've been busy. The movement has been very busy.
Esto yo lo sé. Con consumption guidelines. Así es. Bueno, de todas formas, estás aquí. Bendiciones de Leguá por proteger tu camino y el viaje con los bumpy roads.
Sí. Bendiciones de Elegua.
Vamos a comenzar. ¿Estás lista?
Estoy lista para escuchar y aprender.
Y compartir.
Sí, y compartir.
Maria Consuelo takes the glass of water on the table and pours some out into her hands. She brings the water to her face and rubs it into her skin. Camila does the same.
Y entonces, comparte conmigo tu viaje.
My trip. What do you want to know about it?
I would like to know what color the sky was when you left the forest. What it felt like in your heart when the jungle gave way to dust streets. And I want to know if you were followed.
I wasn't followed, Alaina. I'm a senior member. I'm trusted.
Strong. I want to know what you miss of the forest of you sit here. And what you miss from here as you sit there.
I miss you when I'm there.
Te extraño mucho también, mija. Pero eres una guerrera. You do not need me anymore.
I'm here because I need you.
¿Quién me necesita? It is you or is the movement that needs me?
Los dos.
Los dos. This is your favorite answer for everything. Gracias, mi iniciada, por compartir conmigo. Now I will share with you some things about my journey since we last sat together. Aquí me siento cada día, mirando mis árboles, pensando en ti. Pero hoy fue un poco diferente. Today, I have a visit from an old friend.
Yeah.
Juan Pedro Jiménez.
Senior or junior?
Señor, el hijo is with you in the forest, ¿sí? Unless he has abandoned the movement.
No one abandons this movement. You know that. I only asked because I saw Juan Pedro El Hijo soon before I left, and I would have been surprised.
He's another senior member who is too trusted to be followed. When you see him again, you can tell him that his father cries at night, wishing that he will return home.
We will all return home soon. This is temporary.
And will there still be home here to greet you when you return?
El señor, what did he want?
He came to tell me he will leave this village, the village of his ancestors, con su sangre en la tierra. He came to say he must leave in order to protect what is left of his family.
And what did you say?
I said nothing. I performed a ritual to Elewa on his behalf so that the road before him may be blessed.
You should have told him what I told you. That this is just for now.
No por siempre.
Exactly. I have listened to you.
That is not what I said.
Pero
I have another visitor today. Aquí, en mi árbol. El guácharo. ¿Recuerdas?
I can never forget El Huacharo. I hear them singing every night in the forest. Cuando el cielo parece como el terciopelo.
Bueno, estaba aquí, sentada, sola, solita, silbando a mí mismo. And there he was, whistling back to me in the mango tree in the middle of the day.
What was it a message? Was it a message?
A message. from a guácharo. Qué broma, mía.
You told me that bird song contains messages. You said that.
Mira esta iniciada. You are so wise that now you can teach the teacher. No. En esta familia, we do not receive messages from guácharos. Los turpiales, cardenalitos, las águilas. Those are the birds we receive messages from. But it's strange. Un guácharo in the daytime? Algo tiene hambre. Something is out of balance. Something needs to feed.
Alaina, I'm here for my last lesson.
¿Quieres enseñar a la maestra otra vez? It is I who say when you are here for your last lesson. And you cannot be here for your last lesson if you missed the lesson before it and the one before that. No está lista.
Alaina, mi maestra, I do not question your methods. I am here because of your methods. I am here because I have listened and because I have seen. I have seen her, Alaina. ¡Qué bendición!
Camila places one hand on her forehead and reaches to put the other hand on Maria Consuelo's forehead. Maria Consuelo bats the hand away.
You saw her?
I saw her because you sent her to me, just like you said you would. Dijiste que la enviarás en un sueño cuando ya esté lista para mi última lección.
Un dream last night?
Is this a surprise to you?
And this is why you are here.
Alaina, pensé que entendí, pero... Didn't you say that she would come to me in a dream when I was ready? Isn't that what you promised me? You said that a dream sender knows that they are ready to step into their power when they receive a dream from another. You said.
Cállate.
The force of her own voice makes her erupt into coughing. She gasps for breath.
Abuela.
Déjame pensar. And what did I say about the name? Tienes que comprender, sobre todo, I do not make your promises. I can only guide from the path my own feet have followed. Do not put weight of promises on my shoulders. Entonces, ¿estás segura que tú quieres enviar los sueños? Este poder puede ser muy peligroso para los que lo tienen.
I know it can be dangerous. We've talked about this.
You did not listen.
I have always listened, Alaina. From the very first time I came here, I have listened. Every time I greet you, I vow to listen. Para escuchar, para aprender, para unirme en la lucha por la curación.
Por ahora y por siempre.
Camila takes a deep breath and begins to perform a meditative chant.
Oshun me bahi bejilo.
Maria Consuelo joins. It sounds like a voice, and Guiomar joins as well. They do this exercise together for a while, and then they quiet down.
Tonight, are we always doing ritual? We invite the energy of the orishas into our home. But tonight, it is my turn to listen.
Will this be part of our ritual?
Dream. For what other reasons will I ask? Búscame un mango.
Camila stands up and crosses to the corner of the patio where she picks up a long stick with a plastic basket attached to one end. She approaches the mango tree in the center of the patio and shakes it at its higher branches with the stick. We hear the thumps of a few ripe mangoes landing in the basket. She puts the basket end on the contraption on the ground, picks out a mango, and takes out a pocket knife.
Déjame hacerlo. Eres una iniciada todavía.
Camila passes the mango and the knife to Maria Consuelo, who eats the flesh as she continues to dig for the mango pit.
¿Y cómo fue cuando la viste?
She was so beautiful, Alaina. Parece como mi madre. You know how in a dream someone looks like someone else? She looked exactly like my mother, but it was nothing like my mother. Alaina.
Maria Consuelo springs back into motion and pulls the pit from the mango's carcass. She retrieves a bottle of aguardiente from behind her chair. She struggles to get up. Camila helps her and guides her toward the mango tree. Maria Consuelo takes a big swig of the aguardiente and then passes it to Camila, who holds the bottle but does not drink. Maria Consuelo holds the pit in both hands and then, with her aged and limited physical strength, is able to split the pit into two with her bare hands. She sees the bottle in Camila's hands.
Empezamos. ¿No vas a beber? Estar en comunión con los espíritus.
I can't.
Another consumption guideline. ¡Carajo! Ve al carajo con todas esas reglas.
I can remember the dream clearly.
Como quieras.
She throws the two sides of the pit past each of Camila's shoulders.
Cuéntame.
Camila closes her eyes and the air around her begins to hum and glow.
En mi sueño, plumas cayeron del cielo. I was one of those feathers. When I touched the earth, I shattered like glass. Podía sentirme en cada fragmento, and then I died, decaying, and then I was me, in my tent, like any other night except...
A sharp intake of breath, and we are in the rainforest in the middle of the night. Camila is in a military tent. She wakes with a start and grabs the rifle that is next to her. She shivers violently and then throws up into a bin next to her bedroll. She breathes deeply, attempting to recover, and then, among the crickets, frogs, guacharos, and other nighttime noises, she hears a twig break. She points the rifle in the direction of the sound. Another twig breaks. A glowing light bleeds through the tent. Camila breaks open its entrance, holding the rifle in front of her.
¿Quién es? Don't come any closer.
Guiomar is outside the tent, unseen.
Is every mystery a threat?
¿Quién es? No es broma. I'm serious. I will blow you to bits if I have to.
She thrusts the rifle once again. The glowing light dances.
No me importa. I've survived worse.
Who?
I am your mother.
No shit.
During the following, Guiomar transitions from a glowing light into her woman's body, awesome in her presence, beauty, and strength.
I am your mother's mother. I am the gust of air that breathed all the mothers before them into the universe.
Guiomar moves with a ritualistic pulsing rhythm. She raises Camila up from the ground. When she touches Camila's gun, it somehow disappears. During the following, she and Camila move together to the same gentle pulsing rhythm.
I am the butterfly who landed on your finger the first time you walked in the forest alone. I am the blood that blossomed from your knee when you tripped, so excited to dance with the butterfly that you forgot you had feet and not wings.
During the following, Guiomar guides Camila under a tree where they both seem to float between the forest of Camila's dream and Maria Consuelo's patio.
I am the voice in your head that thundered the first time you witnessed injustice. I am what you grieved the first time you saw a graveyard.
I am the darkest shade of black on your skin.
Camila is back on the patio with Maria Consuelo.
I am Guiomar.
Coño. Madre de mis madres.
Does the dream you sent me surprise you?
The ancestors are always surprise us.
Camila shivers a bit, looking unwell.
¿Y tú? ¿Te sorprendió? ¿Te enfermó? ¿Te asustó?
I wasn't scared.
I see the fear in your eyes. An ancestor will always surprise us, but they should never frighten us. ¿Qué te da miedo?
I'm not afraid of anything. It was just overwhelming.
¿Asombrada? Así es. Cuéntame más.
Camila closes her eyes and the soft hum and glow returns.
En mi sueño, no había calor, no había frío, but I shivered uncontrollably. Como mi cuerpo, mi alma, my very being was an ever-ending fault line in the earth until...
A sharp intake of breath and we are in the rainforest once again. Camila is shaking and shivering. Guiomar lays her hands above Camila's shoulders, echoing the same movement that Maria Consuelo made with the two halves of the mango pit. Camila stops shaking.
¿Tú me conoces?
I know who you are. Mi abuela told me about you.
And she knows me because I am the bolt of electricity that keeps her heart beating.
She told me you would come when I was ready.
Are you ready now?
Sí, estoy lista.
¿Para qué?
I'm ready to fight.
And are you ready to heal? Why are you in this forest?
I've come to follow in your footsteps, madre de mis madres. You are my great, 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 great.
I give you the air that you breathe. You do not have to count for me. Why are you in this forest?
You were a fighter in this very forest.
And why do you fight in this forest?
I am a member of El Frente del Futuro. Somos una nación nueva para los negros de todas partes. We follow in the footsteps of your husband, El Negro Miguel, El Rey, the African king who ripped off his chains and ran to the forest to begin a new nation, and you fought by his side.
Do you see him with me now?
No.
¿Sabes por qué cosa luchamos? You know our fight, but do you know our reasons?
For liberation. For revolution.
El Negro Miguel el Rey. He fought for power. I, Guiomar, his wife, madre de tus madres, I fight for healing.
She places her hands in the air above Camila's shoulders, feeling the electricity that sits there. Camila's arms are compelled upwards, and her hands land on branches that appear above her head.
Entonces, hija de mis hijas, which one do you fight for? Which one do you follow?
¿Dijiste la verdad?
Camila is back on her grandmother's patio. She is clasping onto the branch of the mango tree.
¿Qué?
Do you tell the truth? You cannot lie to the ancestor.
You know what I said. You sent me the dream. Do I have to repeat every single thing?
¿Cómo que do I have to? ¿No confías en mí? ¿Esta guerrera tan macho no necesita su maestra? Remember, I do not make you promise, but you can always trust me.
Of course, Alaina, discúlpame. I don't know what the purpose of this.
And a butterfly cannot see her own wings. Whatever you respond an ancestor questions, this comes only from your heart. It cannot come from the dream sender.
But you still know what I said because I've said it to you so many times. Both.
Your favorite answer for everything.
Why can't you see it?
Being wise has only made me more stupid. Dímelo otra vez.
Los dos. Juntos. Healing and power together. You say I don't listen, but you don't listen.
¿Cómo que Alaina no escucha?
Because I'm not the only one who says this, who's willing to die for that answer. There's a whole movement who agrees. An entire generation from this village who you taught, who only know how to survive in a forest because of you, who only have crowned orishas because of you. You've heard this answer so many times. You planted this answer like a seed before I even knew you, before I even knew I had a grandmother. And now, when we're doing something about it, you act like it's nothing.
Entonces no estoy solita en mi estupidez. What makes you all think you can understand this so quickly? So simple. With life in the balance? And why must I sit and watch as the stupidity of the young turns to violence?
No one has asked you to sit and watch. We begged you to come with us, to finish a fight that you started.
I did not start a fight. I asked questions, and you are all too impatient to wait for the answers. You are too impatient to heal, too impatient to learn. Otra lección para ti, que no escucharás. I have learned that the best way to fight for what you love is by standing still. No escaper, no escapar al bosque jugando como niños en una fantasía. Every single one of you is needed at home. And this gain of revolution is putting those home at risk.
Even though you've turned your back on this movement, we still show you respect. I came here as a courtesy.
I know when you are lying. You come here to learn and the need of a la Iña once more. You still want to send dreams and turn people asleep into your own weapon.
You told me it was a power.
Sí, ¿cómo no? When you use it to heal. How do you answer our ancestor?
I answered the way anyone in our movement would.
Another sharp intake of breath, and the air around Camila begins to glow again.
With healing, we access our power. With power, we are able to heal.
She is back in her dream, back with Guiomar.
Hija de mis hijas, you tell me that you fight for both.
Así es, madre de mis madres.
And have you suffered losses?
We are just beginning. Are you saying that we will lose?
I am not here to tell you your future. Your ancestor can do so much more than that. Estoy aquí para mostrarte mis manos.
Guiomar holds her hands up. They shimmer and almost vibrate in the moonlight.
And I know my own path, that healing and power cannot be held by the same hand.
Sí, madre de mis madres. Oppression has kept them from each other. El Frente del Futuro will change that. This is our revolution. This is why we are here.
Guiomar walks a full circle around Camila, surveying her and taking in information. Camila begins to shiver again.
Hija de mis hijas, puedo verte. I am learning you. The mystery born from me. There are some things that you are ready for. Would you like to see them?
Yes.
Entonces, guerrera de confianza. Remember this tree?
Guiomar forcefully places Camila's hands back onto the branches.
You are but a small leaf on its branch, and I am but a piece of its bark. Sígueme.
Guiomar begins to climb the tree. Camila follows. Their movements look like a dance of mystery, ancestry, physical mastery. They climb in tandem, like a double helix. They reach a big, strong branch, and Guiomar rests there. Camila joins her and looks exhilarated at first, and then nauseated.
Look through the branches. What do you see?
I see leaves and bark and a little bit of night sky and the ground. Oh, if I let myself look at it, I'm afraid of heights.
Está bien. I am happy to learn that you know fear. No pienses en el suelo. Tell me, what color is the sky?
The color of the bottom of the ocean.
The maze of branches and leaves light up like stars in the sky, each one connecting to another to make their own constellations.
¿Qué más? What do you see now?
I see. I see life pulsating, breathing, thoughts, feelings, dreams.
Mi guerrera tan valiente. Listen to these words and make them your truth. You will find life here in the trees. En los árboles encontrarás lo que estás buscando. Every daughter of my daughters has their own place of healing where they must go to find life, truth, to end their search. The trees are yours. I give this to you.
I see so much more than that here.
¿Qué más puedes ver?
I can see power.
Do you know what happened when I brought El Negro Miguel el Rey up into these heights? He believed that his vision brought power and healing together in the same hand. He believed that this understanding must be about his enemies and not about himself.
His African nation lasted longer than any other Maroon nation. That is your legacy.
Escucha! You must listen to the words I speak and not the words you hope to hear. El Negro el Rey Miguel, your inspiration. He confused the always for the now, and the now for the always. He confused the inside for the outside, and the outside for the inside. He came into the trees to peer into the truths of his enemies, not to find the truth of himself. Will you make the same mistake?
Camila looks away in shame, then she looks down. The sight of the ground far below cues her unsettled stomach. She vomits again. Guiomar approaches her, engaging the space above Camila's shoulders, and the vomiting stops. Guiomar places one hand on Camila's womb and the other hand on her own womb.
Y ahora, the tree grows another leaf. Hija de mis hijas, now you join the mothers. Heed my warning.
Guiomar continues climbing higher up in the tree. Camila looks up and then clutches her womb in pain until her womb bursts open and releases thousands of osprey feathers.
¡Ay, no!
A clap of thunder and Camila is back on the patio. The vomiting returns.
Mi nieta preciosa, when were you going to tell me you are with a child?
If you had really sent me that dream, I wouldn't have to tell you. You would have already known.
Maria Consuelo moves to get up and begins to cough. She tries to get up again, but the coughing overpowers her. Camila does not move to help. Finally, Maria Consuelo pulls herself out of the chair, walks to the mango tree, gets on her knees, and says a quiet prayer with her hands on the tree trunk. She slowly gets up again, using the tree for support.
I did not send you this dream. To send a dream, it is a divine ability passed on from our beautiful ancestor Guiomar. I do not have this ability.
So you lied. You lied to me.
Te pones brava conmigo, con Alaíña. I understand this anger, pero Camila, mi nieta preciosa, forget Alaíña and let me be your grandmother for one moment. Who is the father of this child?
En el frente del futuro, there are no fathers. There are no mothers, only fighters. I am trying to end this fight, and you can't help me the way that you said you would.
I did not make promises.
That's not the same as telling the truth.
How will send your dreams end this fight?
They believe in you. This movement, even though you do not believe in them. And if I had any ability that And if I had an ability they believed that you taught me, but I can get it for myself. I saw what Guiomar showed me in those trees, and it had nothing to do with you.
Ten cuidado, hija. You make decisions for two now. Which of your ears do you use to listen to your ancestors and the high branch? ¿La oreja de una madre o la oreja de alguien como el negro Miguel el Rey? This king that you and your movement so admire, he ignored Guiomar. She offered her vision in order to heal the soul of the slave that had followed him in rebellion. And what did he do? Él construyó la misma casa que sus enemigos. He built a state just like a colonizer's would. He wanted power. He took your ancestors, a divine healer, una aliá, and turned her into nothing but a queen.
Camila moves to leave.
We meet too late in our life. Mi nieta preciosa, mi guerrera de confianza. I could have taught you so many things that I know your mother could not teach you because I failed to teach them to her. But think of your father.
You know nothing about him.
Me contaste sobre su gente.
My father is the reason I am here. And after all of these lessons, these rituals, you clearly know nothing about that either.
Do you know why I use mango pit in my rituals with you?
Are those rituals even real?
The last time I saw your mother was when she brought you here as a baby for me to meet you. That is when I met your father too. He told me about the dreams your mother had when she was pregnant with you. She dreamed that heavy, succulent mangoes will surround her, graze against her skin, sometimes even hit her in the face. She will wake up thinking she was covering your juice, but it was her own sweat from carrying you. Era una bebé de muy mal humor. You cry all the time. Tu mamá estaba exhausta, tu papá desesperado, estaba preocupada que nunca podría ver tu sonrisa. I held you under this tree while your parents trying to sleep inside. I sat her, rocking you, cawing you, when a mango fell from the tree branches right onto your head. De repente, dejaste de llorar. Y como el sol se arrastra por la mañana, a smile crept onto your face. For the rest of your visit, I put mango juice in your bottle when your parents weren't looking. And I knew that you will be just like mango, brightly colored on the side, exuding sweetness, but with that hard, impenetrable pit at your center that will break the teeth of even the hungry soul.
Why are you telling me this?
You should talk to your mother about your dreams.
Goodbye, Maria Consuelo.
She approaches the gate and begins to unlock it.
Your father told me about one particular violent dream.
Don't talk about my father anymore.
Camila begins to rush the opening of the locks. Maria Consuelo, with tremendous amounts of effort and perhaps pain, makes her way toward her granddaughter.
Your mother stood on the branch of mango tree. She looked out onto the horizon and saw a bright shining light. She rubbed her belly to let you know the kind of beauty you will see once you join this work, and her belly burst open. Thousands of mangoes tumble out.
Maria Consuelo reaches Camila, grabs her hand.
Déjame.
In your dream, there were feathers. Maybe your daughter will learn how to fly.
Camila yanks her hand free. She leaves. Lights out. A dream. Maria Consuelo is deep in sleep. The moon in the sky is waning, and yet it shines a brilliant, brittle light directly on the mangoes hanging in the tree. There are overly ripe mangoes littered on the patio. The guacharo bird sings its song, and Maria Consuelo begins to listen faintly in her sleep. A human whistle answers her. Maria Consuelo wakes up abruptly. She whistles again, tentatively. Her whistle is answered again, followed by an easy, lilting laugh.
¿Quién es? No te acerques a mí.
Guiomar is hidden in the upper branches of the mango tree. She giggles youthfully again.
Why must I stay far away?
The tree rustles as she jumps to a lower branch, still hidden.
¿Por qué tienes miedo?
Another jump to a lower branch, her figure slightly visible through the branches thick with fruit.
An ancestor will always surprise us, but they should not frighten us. ¿Es verdad?
Guiomar appears. She is young, black, glistening.
I have come for you, hija de mis hijas.
Maria Consuelo takes a shocked and sharp breath. Guiomar breathes with her.
Respira conmigo. Vamos.
Guiomar takes another deep breath and a strong wind engulfs the patio. The fallen mangoes create a force field around Maria Consuelo, who begins to breathe in a punctuated rhythm. Guiomar dances in and out of the mango cyclone, following the rhythm of Maria Consuelo's breaths. The rhythm quickens, and Guillomar's dance moves become heavier, closer to the ground. The mango cyclone picks up speed and obscuring both women, and then total darkness descends. The waning moon is behind a cloud. The guacharo sings again. When the moonlight returns, Maria Consuelo has her arms wrapped around the lowest branch of the mango tree, the same one that Camila had reached for. She begins to cough uncontrollably. From the shadows, an enormous buffalo with mangoes stuck on its horns emerges. Maria Consuelo charges the bull, but it disappears. Suddenly, it is raining. Maria Consuelo begins running around the patio, searching and screaming.
¡Mija! ¡Mija! ¡Soledad! ¡Deja de jugar!
In the tree, the youthful giggle can be heard again. La segunda parte. Midnight on Maria Consuelo's patio. She sits in her chair, as usual. Guiomar crouches behind her.
¿Y entonces? You come to me in my dream and then you stay.
Are you not pleased to have me here? Estoy aquí para ayudarte.
I know what help you bring. I saw your horns. I do not want the help.
Ah, you studied me well. Conoces todos mis arquetipos. Eres una iniciada excelente, hija de mis hijas.
I am an old woman.
And still you are my daughters.
Yeah? Must we count every generation?
You deny your ancestor this pleasure.
You want pleasure?
She strains to pick up a platter on the ground. It is covered in fruits, a glass of red wine, smooth river pebbles, and a pair of bull's horns. She picks up each fruit as she names them.
Tamarindo dulce, uvas, ciruela. I have made this offering for you, pleasure, and you do not take them. You do not go away.
There are things you should not have to do alone. Te ayudaré, aunque sea tarde.
The sound of the patio gate being unlocked.
I know how to handle her.
The patio gate opens.
Me voy abrazándote. Even as you pushed me against my embrace, you will need us both where you are going.
She pulls Maria Consuelo into a lightning quick and thunderstrong hug before she leans back into the shadows. Soledad steps through the gate. She is dressed sensibly for travel, aside from a pair of high heels that she wears like extensions on her legs. She holds a small travel bag. Mother and daughter stare at each other for a cold, long moment. They finally look away from each other.
Buenas noches, doctora.
It's late. You should be asleep.
Una madre debe saludar a una hija.
Guiomar inches back into the light, too curious about Soledad to stay away.
And this mother will greet all her daughters.
That isn't necessary, Maria Consuelo. It's been over 20 years since we have been a mother and a daughter. I only unlocked the patio door because Juan Pedro told me you sometimes fall asleep out here. I thought I would check before trying the front door lock.
Aquí estoy.
Yes, here you are. We should both go inside. That cough doesn't sound good.
Tranquila. You are home. Esta tierra te recuerda. You may forget, but this land does not. There is nothing to be afraid of.
I didn't say I was afraid. This isn't a safe place. I know that much.
Juan Pedro told you.
You didn't have to. I read the news.
I'm sure he was glad to see you make your homecoming. Hace mucho tiempo, como dijiste.
We didn't talk much. I thanked them for helping you, and that was about it.
Tengo suerte por tener un vecindario tan leal, un vecino tan leal. He's planning to leave the village soon. But when I told him about it, when I told him you were coming, he agreed to stay a little longer.
Yes. Very lucky.
Cold silence.
Excuse me a moment. I need to check my messages.
Soledad looks into her bag and takes out a cell phone, dials, and listens.
¿Y tú pensaste que no necesitarías ayuda? Puedo ver cómo quema su ira. Her anger is an ice that burns.
What else do you see?
Guiomar begins to encircle Soledad, who is engrossed in her phone. She quickly darts from point to point around Soledad, a soft glowing light following her, revealing different symbolic shapes as she does this.
I see all the flowing waters inside of her. I see how they vibrate as they greet me, su madre, la madre de su madre. El aire que respiró y creó todas las madres antes. The water inside her greets me because her eyes cannot yet meet mine. She's not ready to remember that I am the wisp of beauty as she chased the first time she swam the ocean, that I am the bubbles that blew as she desperately made her way to the surface, that I am the tears that she shed the first time she felt sadness, that I am the darkest shade of black on her skin. I am Guiomar.
Guiomar.
Who are you talking to?
Es que I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me.
Because I am you and I am she.
Well, you know why I'm here, so we might as well get right to it.
Your daughter is not here.
But you know where she is.
I knew, but I don't know now anymore.
And you chose not to contact me when you did know.
¿Cómo podría hacerlo? You say it has been over 20 years. Phone number change.
And while I have chosen to not be in touch with you, tu vecindario tan leal, Juan Pedro, has always had my most updated number.
I did not know if the call will be welcome, hija.
Don't call me daughter.
María Soledad Figueroa de Martínez Thompson?
Thompson. Thompson. And everybody calls me Sally now.
Exactly.
Be gentle with her. Remember her ice.
Bueno, es Soli. Soy Alaina. Everybody call me this now. This is my spiritual name. Your daughter, she called me this.
Alaina. Do you know what this spiritual name means?
The mantle of fire from the core of the earth.
You will know when you want to know.
Well, now that we're reacquainted, I need you to tell me what you know about Camila.
¿Podemos esperar hasta mañana? You should rest.
I didn't come all this way to keep waiting.
¿Y cómo supiste venir aquí?
A mother's intuition. I know my daughter, and I read the news. And Camila has been. This last semester of law school has been. Things have been difficult, and I know she is angry, and I know that being angry around you is dangerous. So I need you to tell me exactly what has been going on here.
I have been trying to help your daughter heal.
What did she tell you?
That she was ready to walk in the path of her ancestors.
Okay. Do not fuck with me right now. Alaina, Maria Consuelo, it's all the same to me because I don't know who you are anymore. But I need you to take this very seriously. I am trying to save my daughter. I need you to tell me what you know.
¿Estás lista?
Vamos a ver.
Excuse me?
Búscame un mango.
Soledad picks up a mango from the ground gingerly.
¡Carajo! Del árbol.
Maria Consuelo points to the mango retrieving device that is in the corner. Soledad approaches it, exasperated, and proceeds to retrieve the mangoes gingerly at first, and then with a deftness that comes from years of practice, many years ago. She finishes the task, chooses an especially luscious-looking piece of fruit, and offers it to her mother, then wipes the fruit's juices self-consciously on her slacks. Maria Consuelo plunges her thumb into the mango and begins peeling it messily. She hands Soledad the peel, gestures to the foot of the tree, where Soledad leaves the peel. Maria Consuelo searches for the pit while eating the mango flesh.
Una ofrenda tan refrescante.
Guiomar sucks on the peel with joyful abandon, while Maria Consuelo finds the pit. During the following, Guiomar continues to search for the juicy mangoes in the dark corners of the tree. She chomps on them while she listens to her descendants.
Do you remember your mango dreams?
I am not going to talk to you about my dreams. I will never talk to you about my dreams again.
Tus sueños eran verdad. Camila es dura.
Maria Consuelo closes a fist around the mango pit.
You think I don't know this?
Many months ago, Juan Pedro came for a visit.
I really don't have time for anecdotes.
He told me that Juan Pedro, el hijo, had just returned from a trip abroad. A trip where the many ideas he had for revolution in this village, this country, this world, where they took shape.
Juan Pedro Jr. is a part of all of this hullabaloo?
In this meeting, many people came together to plan for a day when Black people will be free.
And what do you know about the International Convening for Black Liberation?
Así es.
She wasn't going to. I told her it was too soon to.
¿Demasiado temprano para qué?
I'm the one asking questions. What happened after the meeting?
A few weeks after Juan Pedro shared this news with me, Camila arrived in the village. Juan Pedro, el hijo, the word he spoke at this meeting, they awakened something in her. This is what she told me. She told me you had spoken very little of me when she was young. She told me that you have erased me, that you do not speak Spanish in your own home, that you erased these two. She told me that you worked hard to keep her away from me, but it was not hard for her to find me. That she had been, como lo dijo ella, resourceful. I told her as much as I could before she joined the movement in the forest.
She's where?
Están todos en el bosque como los cimarrones antes.
How could you let this happen?
Y yo puedo hacerte esa misma pregunta. Camila knew she would join this movement long before she ever saw my face. Entonces, ¿cómo dejaste tú? Oye, ten cuidado, hija. We don't know let our daughter happen. Tenemos que dejar nuestras hijas respirar, pensar. We must let our daughters grow and fight and be. Lo siento.
Yes. You better be sorry. How dare you ask me that? You are the last person I am accountable to as a mother. And you know why.
Maria Consuelo shudders, struggles to recover. Guiomar returns to her side, cradling her shoulders.
El aprieto empieza. I am here with you.
She soothes her by singing. Maria Consuelo hums along. Soledad rolls her eyes.
I'm not the mother you remember. After you, I have become a teacher, a spiritual guide.
Maria Consuelo begins to stand up, but starts coughing instead. Guiomar moves to help Maria Consuelo out of the chair. To Soledad, it looks like her infirm mother is moving on her own.
Iniciada tan sabia. Piensas en todas tus hijas. Encuentra tu poder en tu curación.
Maria Consuelo uses both her hands to break the mango pit in two. Soledad stares in wonder.
After you were gone, I want to fight, to get you back. But I had to stand still. I had to heal.
Before fighting, healing. Before power, healing.
Guiomar sculpts Maria Consuelo's body into dance as she speaks.
And so I reached deep into this earth. Mis brazos, mis piernas son ramas como un árbol antiguo. I quelled the raging fire inside of me. Así que su calidez me consoló y no me quemaste. I let these breezes lift me. Así que mis pasos ya no eran pesados. I let myself listen to the rain. Así que
ella escuchó la lluvia so that she could listen to you.
You're a hypocrite, a charlatan, a liar. I don't have time for this.
Soledad picks up her bag and moves to go into the house.
yo lo traté.
The icy fire will melt. She will heal. Sé paciente.
You listened to the rain? You wanted to fight for me? I am not here for you to rewrite history, Maria Consuelo. I am here to bring my daughter back home where she is safe, where she can heal.
Entonces, we want the same thing, la curación.
You know nothing about healing. You know nothing about listening to the rain. That's what I knew, what I did, and you beat it out of me.
Ayúdame.
¿Estás lista?
Por favor, madre de mis madres.
El Eguá abre los caminos.
It begins to rain. It makes Soledad's anger stronger, hotter. Her styled hair begins to lose its steely straightness, and a curl starts to return.
Soledad, Soledad, deja de jugar. Para con esa brujería. Mi jefe te verá. Remember? ¿Recuerdas, mamá?
Guiomar approaches Soledad.
Ayúdame, madre de mis madres.
Estoy aquí para ella también. I will embrace you both.
As Soledad speaks, lost in memory, Guiomar sculpts her movements. They are punctuated with anger. They come from the depths of her child self.
Mamá, mamá, va a llover.
You were working that day, dusting El Jefe's family portraits on the grand piano.
Mamá, mamá.
The sun was bright in the sky and the air full of sunshine petals, no chance of rain.
Mamá, puedo probarlo.
She had abilities, deep and ancestral, like tasting the scent of rain on her tongue before it could be detected in the skies.
No recuerdo.
Mamá, mamá ya viene.
¡Cállate, negra!
Guiomar grabs Soledad's wrist and twists it into a grotesque shape. Soledad wails.
I didn't say it like that. I didn't look like that.
Hija de mis hijas, I am the gust of wind that breathed all your mothers into the universe. I saw it with your eyes, and I saw it with my own.
Soledad brings a dance of joy and excitement. Her stilted joints remember the movements from across time.
¡Maldita negra! ¡Deja de jugar! Para con esta brujería, mi jefe te verá.
El jefe had just returned from another trip.
El jefe, the great diplomat with a heart of gold.
They were good to me.
Whose pale children called you abuela.
I wasn't held. I wasn't healing them.
Soledad continues her dance and begins to chant in a low voice. Suddenly, the rain begins again.
¡Maldita niña! ¡Ven acá! Tu pelo tan feo y mojado.
I had just pressed her that morning.
You were angry with its curls.
Soledad dances, but the joy and excitement is replaced by angular rage. She chants under her breath quietly, and then louder.
Maldita, negrita, maldita, negrita.
She continues, louder and louder.
Mira esta niña. She's so small, so young, so powerful. It is she who tastes the rain before it is in the sky. And it is she who sends dreams.
Maldita negra!
Soledad's rage seems to have shaken her back from her memories.
That was a spiritual guide? A teacher? A woman who hated me for turning my face towards the sky? When I lived in this house, you could barely look at the black on your face in the mirror, and now you're helping my only daughter walk in the path of her ancestors? No.
Mija.
What did I say about that word?
Lo siento. I have learned some more since you left me.
You left me. You left me every time you rubbed oil so hard into my skin. I could feel you wishing you could rub the black off my cheeks. You left me when you screamed at me, staying in the sun for too long. You left me when I came here with my husband, the love of my life, and you said, ay, qué lástima. You chose not to improve the race.
Soledad is full rage. Thunder strikes. The sound and its connection to her feelings surprises her. She looks at her body anew, like senses are waking up within her.
Y ahora, the ice begins to melt.
I was so wrong. So wrong.
It doesn't matter now. It's too late now. I just need to know that you haven't infected my daughter with your...
I prayed at the altar of our ancestor Guiomar, grounded by the Orisha Oya. I was so wrong then, so unhealed. But now, I know to follow the wisdoms of the ancestors.
The moment is near. Pregúntale lo que necesitas.
Por favor. Perdóname, María Soledad Figueroa de Martínez. Thompson. Please, forgive me.
Así es.
You can't even keep your only granddaughter safe.
Por favor. We have so little time.
Time has already run out. You never even apologized to him. To Everett. Now you can't.
¿Qué me estás diciendo?
I know how to send dreams, remember? I don't know how to talk to the dead.
Ay, no.
Mi niña con poderes. I am sorry for your pain. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for returning to yourself.
¿Qué pasó? Oh, Soli, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
Camila didn't tell you?
Camila spoke of her father ancestor, gente con magia muy fuerte, people who knew to look to the star for liberation, people who could hide maps to freedom in the coils of their hair. Pero no habló de su papá. I thought that she was angry with him the same way she was angry with you. Can you tell me about him? About what happened?
You basically spat in his face when he came here. Why would I want to talk to you about him? Does Camila even know?
Know what?
That this is the reason she never knew her grandmother. That this is the reason I never came back to my mother.
I thought Camila thinks she needed to know.
Ser como un árbol de mango.
I told her to find her roots and fight for them.
Como escuchar a los guácharos.
I told her the language of birth, tree, fruit.
¿Está bien? Let me get you some water.
I told her that to walk in her ashes, she must know the difference between the now and the always, and that she must commit to them equally. And I tried to teach the differences between healing and power. But with this, I have failed. I do not make promise. But please, mija, prométeme que no cometerás los mismos errores. Promise me you will teach your granddaughter this lesson. She's coming soon. You must prepare yourself.
What?
Entonces, mi niña con poderes, my daughter, with the ability to send dreams.
Mama, how long have you been this sick? What can I do?
I'm ready healed. No necesito doctora. Necesito una hija. Perdóname, mija.
I'm here.
Y yo también.
Because I'm you and I'm she.
Okay. It's okay. Shh.
Ayúdame.
Guiomar grabs Maria Consuelo's hand. Soledad grabs the other. The guacharo sings again. Maria Consuelo tries to whistle along. She coughs instead. She gasps for air. Life drains from her. As she dies, her arms drop and Guiomar and Soledad touch and face each other. Soledad stares into Guillomar's eyes.
Don't come any closer. You are
Mija?
not ready.
Mija?
I am the mother. You are the daughter.
Camila, mija.
Guiomar begins to retreat to the mango tree.
Camila.
I am the mother.
Mama? Mi mama?
I am your mother's mother.
Camila, what's happening?
I am the gust of wind that breathed all the mothers before her into the universe.
Camila, come home. Come home with me.
I am Guiomar. Look for me in your dreams.
She jumps into the branches of the mango tree. Lights out. Un sueño. Camila is on the branch from her previous dream. She trembles at the sight of the ground. She is at the full term of her pregnancy and rubs her womb. She is in the beginning stages of labor. She is scared. Under her breath, she sings to herself, Oshun Mabe Vegilo. The labor pains intensify. She cries out in pain. She continues to sing, punctuated by her cries of pain. A strong, clear voice answers her, singing the first word of her phrase over and over, Oshun. Camila allows the voice to soothe her and stops singing to breathe deep breaths. The voice approaches. It is Maria Consuelo, dancing a dance of the goddess Oshun. She approaches Camila, who breathes with relief.
Alaíña, gracias a la orilla Oshun. My baby's coming. Your crown orilla will guide my way.
Hija de mi hija, I will carry your message to Oshun, who waits to greet me with my crown.
Maria Consuelo changes course, dancing away from Camila.
Alaíña, ¿a dónde vas? Alaíña.
Camila is hit with the worst of the labor pain so far. Maria Consuelo continues to dance away.
Ay, abuela! Abuela, help me!
Oshun, ya llega tu hija.
Maria Consuelo continues to dance, but to a different rhythm. A transformation is occurring. She is Guiomar.
I'm your mother. I'm your mother's mother. I'm the ghost of wind that breathed all the mothers before them into the universe.
Madre de mis madres.
Guiomar disappears. Camila screams in pain. From her womb, an osprey bird emerges and flies away. La tercera parte. Daytime on Maria Consuelo's patio. In the light of day, the patio seems completely different, devoid of a certain energy. The mango tree has only a few wrinkled-looking pieces of fruit on it. The rest have been gathered up in baskets placed around the patio. Camila sits in the seat her grandmother used to occupy. She is wearing an oversized military coat. She bends over her midsection where her pregnancy is just beginning to show, if you know to look for it. Next to her is a platter with a bowl of uneaten soup and a plate of empanadas. Camila stares at the mango tree listlessly. Soledad enters from the house in a stylish leisure suit and stands beside her.
You still haven't eaten anything. Camila, I think you need to eat.
I'm fine.
Camila, you've been here 3 days. You have barely said a word to me. You have barely eaten. I know you're grieving. I know you are grieving for your grandmother, but skipping meals is unwise in your condition.
What do you mean in my condition?
Well, someone who
collapsed as soon as I got here, lives a physically demanding lifestyle.
It's time to talk about this, Camila.
There's nothing to talk about.
Your grandmother said...
What did Alaíña tell you?
That I would be a grandmother soon.
Huh? She was a liar.
At times.
Soledad inches towards Camila, who still stares off at the tree. She reaches one hand towards Camila's forehead and the other hovers around Camila's shoulder like Guiomar touched her in the first dream.
What are you doing?
I just want to make sure you don't have a temperature.
Don't doctor me right now. I'm feeling a lot better. I'll be returning this evening.
Returning to what? Camila, we have to talk. You have to let me help you.
I don't need any help. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Then why are you refusing meals as you near your second trimester of pregnancy?
Camila's eyes dart back towards the mango.
There are some parts of being a doctor I can't turn off. And some things you can't hide. I will not let you leave this house.
You don't understand. I don't have time.
You don't have time? Well, let me tell you one thing. Nobody has time to be pregnant. You want to know what I don't have time for? Do you want to know what kind of time I have been losing looking for you? People and places and ideas that you have taking off in the middle of the night wearing oversized jackets looking like death. That's what you shouldn't have time for. This is insane.
I've seen you do less sane things.
I think we should call the embassy.
And tell them your daughter is a member of a terrorist organization? That's what the always benevolent US government is now calling El Frente del Futuro.
Camila, this is really serious. If this is against your will...
It's not.
Given your current condition and given what happened to our family.
How are you still this naive? I am here, and I have chosen to be here because of what happened to our family. Because it's the only sane response to what happened to our family. You need to respect that. You need to accept that. And you need to accept that I am leaving tonight.
Soledad breathes deeply and then stands in front of the mango tree, forcing her daughter to pay attention to her.
Why tonight? Why do you have to leave tonight? If you're not going to let me convince you to stay, you can at least explain what's actually going on here. I will listen. Please.
Soledad gingerly crouches down at the foot of the tree. Camila takes a small bite from an empanada and chews it thoughtfully. She takes a deep breath.
There is an auspicious day coming. Well, Juan Pedro thinks is an auspicious day is coming. Alaina taught him how to walk in the path of Ogun, the warrior. You have no idea what I'm...
Keep going.
He had a plan for a long time, something I didn't think we'd ever have to do. I thought this would be over before we had to... There's a plan. And I thought that I could stop it. I thought if I came back here and Alaina did what she promised she would do, I could stop it. I know she sent me those dreams. I know it. And she lied to me, trying to get me to believe that it couldn't be done because she wanted me to stop trying. But then she sent me another one. She was dancing, but it was different. She was her. Then I get here and she's gone. And now I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop this. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Camila, I know more than you think I know. And this doesn't have to be your fight.
Of course you would say that.
What is that supposed to mean?
You don't think anything's your fight. You left this place, or at least you think you did. All that money you sent to Juan Pedro el Señor for her, you know what she did with it?
She didn't use it to upkeep this house, that's for sure.
She funded this revolution. El Frente del Futuro? It only exists because for years, she was taking young people from this village into the forest, sharing ancestral knowledge, how to find their Ori, the Orisha who crowns them with their inherent wisdom. She called it La Escuela del Futuro. In this fucking country where no one's even allowed to be Black, she taught Black pride. But you wouldn't understand that either.
Ya, basta. You have a lot of ideas about what I do and don't understand, but you have never, ever tried to understand me. Why do you think I left this place, Camila?
To go be a fancy doctor in a fancy country?
When I was born, my father was convinced I wasn't his because I was too dark. He abandoned us before my first birthday. My mother, your venerated Alaina, she used to get drunk and moan to herself, "My daughter is dark and ugly just like me, just like shit on a shoe." That's why I left. That's why I kept you from this place where everyone is allowed to hate Black because everyone is at least a little brown. I left this place to find my Black pride. And I found it. I found it with your father. He was the first person to tell me I had beautiful skin. The first person to rub his hands through my untreated hair and to love what he found there. So maybe we didn't go to marches. Maybe we didn't storm state buildings. I know we weren't the people you wish we were, but we loved each other because we were Black and not in spite of it. And if that's not Black pride, then I don't know what is.
And then you betrayed that. You betrayed that when he was gone.
You can't hold this over me forever, Camila. You can't punish me for trying to survive, for trying to let his legacy survive.
You shat all over his legacy. Everett Thompson was a good man who loved his country. Everett Thompson was a proud American. That's all you ever said. Over and over and over again. An American police officer shot him dead for grabbing his wallet. And that's all you could say. Like you were begging for something.
And running off to the international convening for Black liberation days after your own father's funeral isn't begging for something? Begging that something be different? Are we both allowed to beg?
There's a difference between begging and fighting.
Or maybe healing looks like begging when the wound is still too fresh. I was the one in the car with him, Camila. I was the one they brought in for questioning when they figured out where I was born. They started pushing me like I'm a part of all of this, like I'm some kind of undercover guerrilla. Less than an hour after your father took his last breath with me sitting right next to him. What did you want me to say? Your father did love his country. Your father was a proud American. I didn't lie. I was trying to protect us. Give us a chance to heal. And look what you're doing with it.
You know what happened when I first arrived in the forest? Years ago, Alaina taught the youth of this village how to summon a pantheon of ancestors, how to harvest all that good energy and intention. So, on that first night, when we first arrived, Juan Pedro did that with Miguel de Buría. Do you know who that is? Of course not. Miguel de Buría was an African king. He was enslaved first in Puerto Rico and then here, and he started a revolution. The first Maroon nation in that same forest. And by his side, the whole time, his wife, Guiomar, our ancestor, she knew magic. She was connected to divinity.
Camila and Soledad sit with this. The sun begins to set.
Guiomar was a warrior too. They fought side by side. So the first night, we invited them all in. And then Juan Pedro, in the last step of the ceremony, he asked us to speak the name of an ancestor that had been killed by a colonizer, the same way that Miguel de Buría was killed by a colonizer. And every time someone spoke a name, a new flame emerged in that fire. I spoke Dad's name, Everett Thompson. And I watched his flame strengthen that fire. And I knew that the only way I could ever heal is to claim power, to fight.
Fighting is not healing, Camila.
Neither is giving in.
¿Esto es lo que piensas de mí?
Soledad stands up and begins to stroke the bark of the mango tree.
Why are you speaking to me in Spanish? You never did. Even when I needed you to.
Nunca dejé de hablar en español. Lo hablo en mis sueños.
You dream in Spanish?
¿Sí? En mis sueños. Donde conozco Guiomar. When I was pregnant with you, I dreamt of...
Mangos. Alaina told me.
Camila attentively touches her wound.
I've been dreaming. In my dreams, I'm pregnant with feathers, with birds.
Ya lo sé. Te envié esos sueños.
Oh,
The first one, the one with the feathers where you met Guiomar, that was in spite of myself. All day, every day, I was doing everything I could to find you, to get inside your head and predict the choices you were making. Calling every friend, professor, trying every password, and I was just too exhausted to keep fighting my dreams. I've been fighting them for decades. So when I woke up and felt that tug between my mind and heart, the one I've felt since I was a child, I let the dream go where it was meant to go. And once I sent one, I couldn't help myself, just like when I was small. And then I sent one to my mother. I guess it helped her prepare for my visit or her journey onward. And after she was gone, I sent you another because I knew you would come back if I did.
she told me she would teach me how to send them.
She beat it out of me as a child.
She lied to me.
I think she was trying to heal.
Can you teach me?
So you can heal or so you can fight?
So I can end this. So I can be... This movement, they respected her. If I have a power they think she had, they'll listen to me. This plan, I could get rid of it. I could be...
Mother?
They sit with this together. The sun sets. Soledad gets a desperate idea.
Búscame un mango.
Camila looks to the tree and takes it in its barrenness.
We have to try.
Camila approaches one of the baskets of mangoes and picks up a piece of fruit. She begins to hum. Oshun, and hands the piece of fruit to her mother. Soledad plunges her thumb into the fruit like she saw her mother do. She hands the peel to Camila, who takes it and places it at the foot of the mango tree. Soledad follows her to the tree, holding the pit of the mango. She tries to break it with her two hands, but nothing happens. Camila tries to take it from her, but Soledad keeps trying. She screams in rage, frustration, grief, and throws the pit across the patio. She begins to cry.
Mom. Mami. Tranquila.
She approaches the mango tree and wraps her arms around the nearest branch. She hums to the Oshun faintly, and then begins to breathe rhythmically and deeply. Soledad listens to her breath. She begins to match it.
We have to invite her here. Guiomar.
Así es.
When did you see her the first time? Was it in a dream?
I was very much awake. I was small, not even in school yet. The water had stopped running in the house and I needed a bath, so my mother took me to the waterfall. I was so excited, running through the forest towards the sounds of thundering water. My mother was furious. She said that the poor people who bathed outside their homes were mala gente. I skipped ahead, leaving her muttering curses behind me.
They return to the rhythmic breathing. Soledad joins Camila at the tree. She caresses the bark, whispers to it until she bounces off of it, showering in a memory of water.
Madre de mis madres, vi tu sonrisa en el chapoteo de agua. Te escuché tararear en mi corazón cuando contuve mi respiración bajo de agua.
Guiomar appears above Soledad's head, dancing to the same dance from Camila's dream.
Hija de mis hijas, You saw me the darkest shade of black on your skin.
You have been with me in my dreams ever since.
Mom?
She's here, Camila.
I can't see her.
Mi mamá?
She has been greeted into a pantheon of ancestors.
Mami,
Mom.
qué hermosa eres. Your black skin is shining.
Because I am she and she is me.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming her home. Madre de mis madres. We invite you. We ask you.
Mommy. Tell her I need to heal.
Te pedimos que nos sanes. Both of us.
Así es, hija de mis hijas. Búscame un mango.
Soledad runs to Camila and takes one of her hands off the branch, grabbing hold of her. Camila gasps.
I can see. You are with us.
Hija de mis hijas, who holds the future in your mind, in your heart, in your womb. Is healing what you want?
Yes. I want to feel light so that my daughter can learn how to fly.
Así es. Adelante. Somos tres. Con tres ya tenemos.
The past, the present, the future,
The now.
Lo que es ahora.
and the always.
Lo que es por siempre.
As within, so without.
Como dentro, tan abajo.
We are the gusts of air that will breathe all the mothers after us into the universe.
All of a sudden, they are surrounded by a ring of fire. Guiomar proceeds to dance with the flames.
We celebrate you, Alaina.
Has she healed? Is she free from her suffering?
She rests in the comforting glow of the flames. She tends to them so that they do not spread.
Ashe.
La niña que conoce el sabor de la lluvia. Do you seek healing or do you seek power?
I want to heal.
Let the now be the always. Taste your past like you taste the rain. When you feel the tug between your mind and heart,
I will let the dreams fly.
you will send them where they belong.
Ashe.
Mi hija, el mango.
The rain stops. The tree is suddenly full of fruit. The mangoes twinkle and sparkle like gems.
What do you see?
Camila looks at the ground and gasps.
Remember, do not look at the ground. Piensa en el cielo. What color it is.
The sky is the color of a bird's wing.
Así es. Y ahora, ¿qué puedes ver en ese árbol?
I see my mother. She looks strong. And I see, my grandmother. I see her in your eyes. And I see so many mangoes.
Y entonces, you are seeing yourself.
Because I am you and I am she.
My mother, when I dreamt of mangoes, she would.
I know. She told me. Brightly colored, exuding sweetness with an impenetrable pit.
She said that you would have so much to give.
That your words and deeds will mature.
And that when you needed to say no, you would be steadfast and compassionate. You would root yourself in the ground and you would let your no be the root of new growth.
Is that what I'm doing?
What will you fight for, my guerrera de confianza? ¿La curación o el poder?
I think I'm too tired.
You're holding too much, mija.
Healing and power cannot be held by the same hand.
Stay here with me.
Recuerda,
The best way to fight for what you love is by standing still.
Camila and Soledad are back on the patio. Guiomar has disappeared. There's a full moon in the sky and the mango tree is still full of fruit. Camila and Soledad embrace each other and hold on tight. It takes a long time for them to release this hug.
What's going to happen, mija?
El Frente de Futuro is going to bomb the government building in the center of town.
What will you do?
Camila takes off her military jacket, her pregnancy more clearly visible now. She picks up the mango retrieving device and begins to shed the tree of its new fruit. Soledad picks up one of the baskets and helps Camila place the mangoes in the basket. They continue to work.
What was the first one?
The first what?
The first dream you sent? Who was it to?
My mother. She was crying herself to sleep one night, and I wanted her to feel better, so I sent her. In the dream, it was the middle of the day. She was at work cleaning El Jefe's driveway. And in the middle of the day, a guacharo shows up and starts singing to her. She leaves the driveway and chases the bird, so surprised to see it in the middle of the day. And as she chases the bird, her clothes, they start to change. She's in her cleaning uniform, but the further into the forest she gets, the thicker the brush. The fabrics start to rip and tear, and soon she's not wearing anything at all. And she runs and runs, and the running feels like it did when she was a young girl. And she runs from the edge of the forest to the foot of a volcano. And she's so surprised to see it, this awesome sight in all its power. And it's releasing these velvety streams of fire. And the guacharo sings to her, Alaíña, your darkness is beautiful as the mantle of fire from the core of the earth. Alaíña, Alaíña. And the next morning at breakfast, I asked her if she had good dreams. And she said she couldn't remember.
Soledad and Camila laugh gently together. They continue their work. Maybe they hum. End of play.
Thank you, bravo. That was wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful, wonderful reading today, for our opening reading for this festival. Bravo. And we're going to start very, very soon our Q&A. But before we do that, I just would like to remind our audience that if you like to support IATI Theater, you can do so by visiting iatetheater.org/donate. We are a non-profit organization, and a donation of any amount will help us tremendously. So let's start our Q&A. If you are here on Zoom, please send your questions, your comments. You can use the Q&A option. If you are with us on Facebook, write a comment, send some love, send some some pulgares, some little hearts, whatever you would like to share with the cast, with the director and the author, because this is still a work in progress. This is still something that it's building, and anything that you can say, you can add, that will be amazing. So Let's welcome first the director of today's reading, Gama Valle. Welcome, Gama, to our Q&A section. Hola, Gama. All right, I'm going to introduce now the cast. Guadalis del Carmen, Maribel Martínez, Milvia Berenice Pacheco Salvatierra y Daricel Calcano. Muy bien. So finally, let's welcome our playwright, Alexandra Espinoza. Hola, muy bien. Ahí está. Perfecto. So, you know, on Zoom, send us questions. On Facebook, send us comments, questions as well. And I would like to start first with Alexandra. I think that the first question is just tell us about the origin of the play, the journey of this text, how this idea came first, and just give us a little summary of the progress of this magnificent play.
Sure. Well, thank you everyone for being here. The origin of the play, it kind of went through a lot of different stages. I feel like I started writing several different plays, and all of them were looking at. Started with my parents. My mother is from Venezuela, and my father grew up in the West Indies, and just I've always had a really interesting experience of being first generation American, but from two different cultures, and kind of watching different experiences of distance. And I think that my mom's experience, especially in the last 15 years with Venezuela, and how hard it's been to be back and to visit because of the political situation, has just really just shown me how poignant like the experience of just leaving your home is. And I think that I was really kind of fixated on that, but didn't know how I wanted to tell the story, didn't know what I wanted to focus on. And I think I just realized, I just want to tell the entire story. So I just want to start from how my people even got there, and looking all the way to someone like Camila Marie, who grows up in this country, but is very affected by the inequities that she experiences here, but also feels very apart from the experiences that would have happened to her if she had been more connected to Venezuela as a younger person. So I think that with each of the women in the story, there are elements of them that come straight from my heart and from my own family, but very remixed. And that, I think once I found the structure of letting each of these characters really have difficult conversations with each other, where Guiomar is present in the space, then it just became a question of, well, what does this person really need to say to this person, and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that's surprising, and it's also a challenge, I think for the play, it's to have like one foot on history, and the other side on intimacy, like a family, and more like the conflicts within, more in more intimate ground or realm. How do you manage to do that? Like work with history and historical mothers, but also like talking about a family and a person's, intimate world.
I mean, some of that is just, I think that's just kind of how I experience the world in a lot of ways. I studied history for my undergraduate degree, and so I really thought I wanted to be a historian. And then I found it to be kind of lonely, and I found myself really wanting to be able to finish the story rather than report and analyze on what has happened. And so I think that when I started getting more exposure to playwriting that did that really allowed personal stories to be part of history, I was like, oh, that's kind of what I want to do, and was able to start really just kind of developing my own approach, which has always really been that to have a historical question that kind of opens up and breaks apart in some way through personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And then like magic stuff, so that helps.
Yeah, we'll go there. We'll go there in a sec to talk more about like the world, that the environment and the sort of like like magic that like surrounds the whole world. But we have a question. Tenemos una pregunta desde Colombia. It's for you, Alexandra, and it says in Spanish, ¿cómo construiste el personaje María Soledad y cuándo supiste que ya estaba listo? So how do you build this, like construct this character, María Soledad, and how do you, or when do you know that it was finished or ready?
That's such a good question. I feel like the characters I know best in my life are always the most difficult, take the longest to know that they're ready. My mother is a doctor. She moved to the US when she was 25 as a resident for a fellowship, and then she met my father. She stayed. So in a lot of ways, Soledad is my mom in terms of biography, and I think that because of that, it was just really hard to find the character that the play needed, and that explored the themes that I wanted to for my own life, but didn't feel like biography. And I think I'm still learning about her. I feel like in this go round, I learned a lot about. We talked a lot in our rehearsal about the ways she shows care from the very beginning, because I think that she's a character who can seem very closed off. But I think what the wonderful actors who were in the room this time around were really able to share with me is that she actually is acting on care from the very beginning of the play, and in a lot of ways, all the action in the play is because she cares and because she wants to protect her daughter and she wants her daughter to have what she needs. So I think that's been a really helpful discovery. And the play used to be called Solly Dreams in Spanish because I think for a long time I thought of the play as Soledad's kind of journey back to herself, and allowing herself to step back into these this space and these abilities and all of that. But then I was like, no, this is about their whole lineage, so it doesn't feel like the title didn't feel like it fit quite as much. But I think that speaks to how important who she is and how she shows up in the play is.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I would like to bring Gama now to the conversation and ask Gama, how was your experience when you got the script and you got to see the entire world that this place and these different generations coming together?
I was in love with the text since the first time I read it. I read it last year, and then I read it again this year because I was gonna direct a reading, and it's a privilege to be able to work on it. And more taking consideration that it's a play that's so outside my own experience, and I wouldn't be like the right director for a production of it, but I felt so connected to the characters. I saw my mother there, and I saw a lot of elements of my relationship with my mother there. And I was like, in a certain way, at certain levels, I can relate to what that happens in the play. But I don't want to get into my personal stuff here. But going back to the play, I thought it was so exciting, and I think it's so important that Black Latinas have representation, that have the space to tell the stories, and to have the support of companies like Iari Theater. So I think it's an important play in many levels, just because of the content, the space it opens for a writer like Alexandra, and also for a cast that it requires. So I can just summarize my experience as just the privilege that I get to touch it at some point.
Mm-hmm. And what were some of the challenges that you encounter with this format, but also with the text itself?
Well, it's a play that requires so much movement. The body is as important as the word in this play, and definitely Zoom and the amount of rehearsal that we get for this kind of reading doesn't allow it to really experiment and explore the physical life of these characters. Um, and that's a big challenge. So, you have to hope that the people who are listening to this can like sort of spark their imagination and really try to see the space, to see the tree, to see the mangoes, to see Guiomar. It's a challenge for us as a team to try to portray that in this format, but also it's a challenge for the audience. Um, I think that was the biggest challenge
Mhm.
because finding the cast was easy. I know most of them. I knew them already, and I knew they could bring what the play needed um, without me having to like really poke around. Um, so that's I think that was a challenge for them.
Well,
Everything else is created, and the play is so clear that it really didn't take us that much to really discuss it and understand it.
mhm. Well, we got very good comments too from one of the playwrights, fellow playwrights, Adon Judith from Uganda. She's watching and she says, such a beautiful power ending sequence. And I agree, that was, and live, like, with the song that you can, that it just feels so much different, when, obviously, when you read it. And then,
Yes, and wait.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
Jenny.
sorry. Yeah, oh yeah, I was gonna say, and Stephanie too. She says, "Wonderful play, beautiful directing, heartfelt acting." Thank you, Stephanie.
Perfect. Yeah, Stephanie also saying that loving the acting. So let I have a question for the three actresses that were uh, playing a character, but also playing Guiomar. So how was this transitioning for you all, like from being uh, either María Consuelo, María Soledad, Camila, but also Guiomar, like embodying these two different characters? I don't know if anyone would like to share some thoughts about that. María Soledad, I'm pointing.
Oh,
Away.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think Alexandra said it earlier. It's really coming from a place of, like that mama bear instinct that kind of turns on when you feel your child is in danger. And there's something really profound that these three women are rooted in. And their connection is really strong. And there's something about the umbilical cord is never cut, even when they pass on, or when we pass on. And so, I think it was really a matter of figuring out exactly what Soledad's emotional journey was from beginning to end. And Guiomar, there's this idea of what the ancestors' world could look like. Like, there's no possible way we can fully understand what that is. But I think that trying to find like the essence of who the person was, um, and just seeing what are the thread throughs with these three women that can be also seen in Guiomar. And just for me, it was really picturing Guiomar as almost like, and we kind of talked about this in rehearsal, the idea that when you have a child, you're kind of seeing the world for the first time through that child's eyes, and it's like experiencing everything for the first time with the sense of wonder. And to me, it's almost like, if the ancestors were to kind of see things through our eyes again, it's like, oh yeah, that was really dope, or yeah, that tree is really beautiful, and what that feels. So to me, it was like, would Guiomar have this sense of wonder and awe, and find joy in seeing her descendants, and being able to connect with them in that way? That not all ancestors are able to experience that either, right? Because for many of us, we have been removed from our ancestral teachings, so we no longer have that connection. but yeah, there was it's that's the really beautiful thing about this play is that it's so layered. And I wish we had more time to really dig in and yeah, to be in person because there's so many really beautiful elements that um that yeah, I would have loved to like, just really like sink my teeth into a little bit more and just, keep finding the joy and the beauty and the heartache and all the, the good and the bad and all those layers.
Mhm.
I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, I think it does, and also, yeah, it give us a lot of, to see Guiomar, from your perspective, and not as a reader, but also like the actor that is performing. And I imagine that, you know, there are also other challenges that maybe I can ask Maria Consuelo, Camila. I'm just seeing your character's name, so if you want to add something, that'd be amazing.
I thought it was really interesting today. During the reading, even today, I was like, oh, Guiomar is informing so much of who Camila is inside. Maybe like not the parts that she like shows all the time, but like the parts that are like the pit, right? Like, so all of like the silliness that Guiomar kind of had when Camila is taking the turn, being Guiomar, like that was being informed by Camila, but also Camila was informing Guiomar. It was like a very interesting cycle at some point for me, like especially this time reading it. We didn't have, as we're all saying, we didn't have as much time as we wish. I mean, like Sandra does like such a beautiful, like everything is here in this document. And so like as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, this thing, think about that later. Like I'm grasping at things right even tonight. But yeah, one of the things that like I keep thinking about is like how our ancestors kind of look at the sense of joy and wonderment, but also like the sense of like humor. Like the universe has a real interesting, funny sense of humor that sometimes we're like, at my expense, But
Mhm.
but I kept thinking of that too, like especially in that second part with Guiomar, she's like very silly and she's like, I don't know, she feels to me like a little spirit
Yeah.
until it's like, and by spirit I mean like a Tinker Bell spirit. I don't know if that was gross. But like that, like very like wispy and very like
Mhm.
right. And I'm there um for both of them. That's also the interesting thing is like Guiomar, at one point I could sense me, Maribel, having these judgments, these opinions of things. And then I was like, wait, no, Guiomar doesn't, as a spirit, as somebody who like is taking care of both of these people, she says it, I'm here for both of you. And that was like really interesting to like kind of teeter between I'm here for you and I'm here for you.
Mhm.
I'm here for both of your journeys. And what do you need from me? And what do you need from me? Which obviously Camila doesn't have to go through. She's like dealing with her own things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, Sandra did such a like, there's so much beauty in like playing around with maybe when I'm sitting right next to my altar, that's why I'm pointing at them. But maybe what my ancestor might like look at me and be like, ay, Maribel, that thing again, you did that thing again, him again, like you really pooped on yourself that day again. Like, didn't I tell you that you were more beautiful than that already? Like all these lessons that we keep learning and learning, the sense of humor is so beautiful to see in that second part for her.
Yeah, and for Maria Consuelo as a character, how was Guiomar also playing an important role in defining the character, or I don't know in what way do you see this character?
Yeah, I in love with Guiomar because I felt like she changed it as during all the play as it's needed, and it have this quality of water, this sensation of like I'm here to nourish, and then I can nourish like with a storm, or I can nourish just with just a little glass of water for you to to just take your time. Like I felt like Guiomar is this character that is root that go through the spine of all the three different characters, and is there is no sense of a judgmental, there is no sense of a rush, there is no sense of it, there is nothing to be done because everything is being done yet. You just have to realize and that is there's like it is the time in circle, and I felt like that give us in the play the ability to connect with that in us, in each of as a character, but also even as an actors. Like I feel like, oh, I can go to this place where there is no time and there is no judgment and there is everything that happened, it is right. And I love that about that character, that Guiomar ancestor.
Perfect. Thank you. And Gianni, how things are going on Facebook? Any?
Yes, I'm the voice of the dream. I have here from, this is for Gama before. Yes, Gama preach. And this is from our executive director, Vivian D'Angelo. She says, gracias por la magia que han proyectado. Thank you for the magic that you have created, projected today. And that is it on our end. And just my own comments. Wonderful, wonderful cast directing. And Alexandra, I'm so grateful and appreciative for you bringing these concepts and ideas of Orishas, into our conversation. We don't see them. And it was really beautiful to hear, just even hear these words and just, to have it introduced to our narrative. So thank you for that. I truly thank you, and thank you, everyone.
Perfect. And we have also Daricel, who shared now a comment. You want to share it, Daricel?
Yeah, I was just going to say that as someone who's like outside but in the play, right, because I'm like also an audience member, just reading, whatever. I loved how each of the characters like got to play Guiomar. I think that each woman and you all manifested her so beautifully that really like I found myself like so tethered. I don't know, it's like a freaky thing. I'm Dominican, so we know like we believe in the spirits, like it's a beautiful thing. So that I was just like, oh my god, wait, I have a stage direction to read. But it was so like hypnotizing, this love, like the character of Guiomar, and that it's so beautiful to see three people play her in three different scenes, right, in three different areas. And like I can only imagine how that would play like on a stage in real life with like lights and everything like that, because it's really so profound. And Alexandra, like you've done such an amazing job with this piece already. I just love that she's like the thing that tethers these women, and of women in past generations and of women in future generations. So it's really nice that it just comes back wholesome and wholeheartedly and full circle, because Camila is now having a daughter. So it's like, it starts here, but then it just encloses the circle, and we go through that journey of what that is. So that's really nice.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think my last question for Alexandra would be, give us an idea of how the program, Simentos program, was for you in terms of like working on this text. Because as just to let you all know, before having this reading, we went through meetings with all the playwrights, having the chance for everyone to share thoughts or comments about the text that we were reading together. So how was that experience for you, Alexandra?
I think it was a confidence booster, but in a way that I hadn't experienced before. In that, like the cast has been saying, it's a very multi-layered play, and I think on first read, it can feel a little dense. It can feel a little bit like there's a lot going on, and that it's not fully clear, because there's also a lot of things that kind of get unspooled over time. And I think that what I really appreciated about my experience bringing the piece to Simentos is that people asked really good questions, and were open about when they were confused or when they weren't sure what to expect. But they, at the end of every question I got was, but we trust you. Like that the play, even the parts that you don't, sorry, my dog, I gave her a snack and she ate it like way too quickly. So
don't worry.
But that 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 they could tell that I knew what I was doing, and that made me feel like, okay, it really doesn't matter like what happens in anybody's first read, like, because I do know where this comes from, and I think that it's a play that doesn't really make sense on the page. Like, I think hearing it out loud, it makes a little more sense, and I agree that seeing it in 3 dimensions is where it's going to make the most sense. So that felt really good, because I think what was the best thing about Simentos is that we really gelled as a group, and so I really trusted that feedback because it felt very intimate. It felt like people already knew me really well as a thinker and an artist, because we're always so transparent with each other in this space. So I was like, you know what? I can let go of trying to make it all make sense in the ways that we expect plays to make sense, because people can trust it. So I would say that and changing the title, that also helped.
Well, thank you very much for that, for bringing this play, for sharing it with us, and for letting us have the conversation that is very necessary back then when we had our meetings, and also today with the reading. So I would like to first thank you, Alexandra, for sharing your play. Thank you, Gama, for being the director today on today's play. And finally, thank you, Guadalis del Carmen, Maribel Martinez, Milvia Berenice Pacheco Salvatierra, and Daricel Calcano. Thank you all for an amazing, amazing work today. It's been a pleasure to have you with us, Alexandra, and please stay in touch. Keep us updated with any future projects that you will be working. And for our audiences here on Zoom and on Facebook, join us tomorrow. We have our second play at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The play is As Happy as God in France by Julia Pascal, who will be joining us from London. And that will be an amazing reading as well. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Let me remind you that if you want to support us, you can go to yatitheater.org/donate. We're a non-profit organization, and a donation of any amount will be very, very helpful. So thank you. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Good morning, maybe. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you all, and goodbye. Adios.